Hello, my friends, and welcome to a brand new episode of Discourse in Magic. My name is Jonah Babins, and today we're talking about the perfect sales call. Specifically, I want to walk you through some of the strategies around what questions to ask when someone has inquired about working with you, what questions you should be asking them on the sales call, and why that helps. Now, just so you know, I'm going to teach you and talk a lot about one of the core questions and concepts. But if you are currently a gigging magician and you are doing sales calls, then I'm going to show you at the end of this episode exactly what to do to learn more and get more help and support on how to do sales calls. So first, let's talk about sort of asking questions on a sales call. Now, if you can imagine, if we were to zoom out like 10,000 feet, a sales call roughly has the structure of you get on the call, you ask them a bunch of questions about their event, what they're hoping for, what they want, what the outcome is. Then you tell them about what it is that you do and what it is that you're offering. And then the end of the call is basically about either closing the gig or solidifying what the next steps are to match up and see if it's a fit. And one of the things that magicians get wrong when they're asking questions is often all of the questions that they ask are simply about event logistics. So how many people? Where is it? What's the venue? Have you done this event in the past? I mean, that one's not exactly event logistics, but you get the idea. Like, people are asking questions that do not necessarily do what these questions should be doing. If you're just asking about were you looking for a cocktail or like mingling magic or a show, then you're not really getting some of the benefits of asking really good questions. Now, if you ask really good questions, what it does for you is two things. The first thing that it does is it gives you the information of what it is that they want and what it is that they're looking for, so that when you go and tell them about what you do, you can make sure to tell them about what you do in terms of the things that they're looking for. So if someone wants to hire a magician for cocktail hour and what they're looking for is someone to help people start chatting with each other and help break the ice, then you're going to use those exact words, break the ice. Like, use that language, and you only have that language because you asked them the right question. So the first thing that it does is obviously it actually shows you what it is that they want, what it is that they're looking for, and it gives you some of the tools to explain what you do in terms of what they're looking for. The other thing that it does, and I think this is the part that most magicians really miss, is that it shows them that you know what you're talking about. The right question, you asking the right question, makes the client go, oh my gosh, I did not even think about that. We are dealing with a pro. So where a question of like, how many people, what were you looking for, stage or close-up, doesn't quite do that. If you ask something that is really gets to the root of what they're doing, or even shows them that you have a lot of experience in their market, then they realize, without you having to say it explicitly, they realize that you have experience. Like, when I used to perform at summer camps, I used to ask them about how long their workshops are slated for, what time is their lunch and breakfast. Even just saying, like at summer camps, they used to call it evening programs. I would ask them about it. I would say, like, how long are your evening programs usually? Do you usually do it with the whole camp? Do you break it up into seniors and juniors? And if you run a camp, then that's the language that you use. And all of a sudden you're like, whoa, this person has done camps before. So I want to give you two examples of this that I think are going to really illustrate why asking the right questions can make the biggest difference. The first example is going to be weddings. So if you do magic at weddings, probably the most common thing is to hire a magician to do mingling magic during cocktail hour at those weddings. So here's a question I ask every single time that makes a really big difference. I say, by the way, during cocktail hour, are you going to be off taking photos with the family? Or are you going to be there during cocktail hour? Now, I would say at about 75-80% of weddings, during cocktail hour, they're off taking photos. What that means is that you have an incredible opportunity. First, just think, by asking the question, they go, oh my gosh, this guy does weddings. He gets that we're going to be away during that time. But the other thing that it does for you is it gives you the opportunity to later say, here's how it works. During cocktail hour, we do mingling magic. We go up to groups. We do this, we do that. But funny thing happens at weddings, which, like you mentioned, during cocktail hour, you guys aren't there. So people hire a magician because they love magic, and then they never get a chance to see the magic. So what we do is once the doors to the room for the reception actually opens and everyone goes in, there's usually a 5 to 10 minute pause before the grand entrance of the couple. In that time, we actually come to you guys and do like a private 5 to 7 minute magic, not show, but magic routine. It's designed around weddings. It's something special for the two of you so you can actually enjoy the magic. And we make sure to coordinate with your photographer and videographer because these are incredible moments. And it's just a private moment with us where you can have a laugh, have a good time, and experience the magic that you paid for. But also, we make sure that your content team is there to gather all of the videos and photos so that way you can remember it for the rest of your life. So again, if you see what I just did there, the combination of asking the question in advance as well as using it as an opportunity to solve the problem. People don't even realize that they want to hire a magician for their cocktail hour, but they're going to be off taking photos. People have only ever planned one wedding and it's overwhelming. So when someone is able to share something that's really useful or helpful for them, they go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. Yes, it would be so nice to actually see the magic. So that's an example that'll give you a picture of why asking the right question can help you out not only to book the gig, but also to actually make them feel like you know what you're doing and you know what you're talking about. I'm going to give you another example. Let's say someone is inquiring about bringing you to do magic at a corporate event. So one of my favorite questions for like a corporate holiday party is this just going to be the employees or are there going to be plus ones as well? Now, here's why this question rocks. First of all, it shows that you know that corporate events sometimes are big events that have plus ones in them, but also that you know that it might not. Like they get the idea that what you're after here is getting some details because you do lots of these events. But here's what it really does. If they tell me that there's going to be plus ones, then later I get to tell this awesome story. So I tell them, it's a 2-minute story, but I tell them, when I was a kid, my dad owned a small store and he had about 30 or 40 employees between both of the shops that he owned. And every year when he did his company holiday party, he would never allow plus one. I know it sounds crazy, but the reason why he would do that is because he found that if he had people bring plus ones, then everybody would spend all night babysitting their partner. So they wouldn't actually mingle, they wouldn't have fun, they wouldn't build relationships with employees. Instead, they would rightly so make sure that their partner isn't being left out. So if you wanted dancing, or if you wanted a show, or if you wanted people to actually party and engage with each other, then you need something to actually get them to stay, because otherwise you've got a spouse sort of pulling on their shirt saying, hey, let's get going, I'm tired. Here's the hack. When we do mingling magic during cocktail hour, we make sure that we're not only doing magic for, let's say, a couple, but we flag over 4, 5, 6 people so that not only the employees get to hang out with their friends and other people at the company they don't know, but that the plus ones get a chance to meet and interact with other people. That way, when the night progresses, they actually have relationships that they made at the event, and they don't leave the moment that dessert is done. Instead, they hang out with the people that they build relationships with. So one of the benefits of mingling magic is not that they get entertainment, although obviously that's important, but one of the key benefits of mingling magic is that people get to build relationships with each other early on, and that lasts throughout the night, and it makes people more comfortable and makes people want to stay and participate longer and build more relationships. So hopefully you see what I did there. I just told a story that really shows the reason having plus ones is a good thing, but if you don't get them to build relationships early, then what happens is they want to leave. And this party that they're spending lots of money on doesn't give them the thing that they're after, which is for people to build relationships and for employees and for their partners to build relationships with each other and sort of quote unquote make it more like a family. So if you see, I would not have known that if I didn't ask about if plus ones were being invited. I know it sounds like a simple thing, but the questions that you ask make the biggest impact on not only how they understand that you know what you're talking about, which I think is the most misunderstood thing, but more than that, to give you the language to use when you're describing what you do. So hopefully that was useful for you, and hopefully you learned a thing or two about sales calls. If you want to learn more, I'm going to be doing a workshop next week. I'm looking at the calendar to make sure that I have these dates right. The workshop is going to be on Thursday, the 19th, and we're going to be teaching you all about how to do the perfect sales call. This is not for cold calling. This is not for calling strangers. This is when someone inquires to work with you, what you say on the call so you can get more people to say yes at higher fees, make them confident that you know what you're talking about. So if you want to come to that, I want you to type in or click the link below. It's discourseinmagic.com/sales call. discourseinmagic.com/sales call. I will see you there at the sales calls workshop. And of course, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next Thursday.